So I did release this book as Breaking the Spells We Put on Ourselves, but it's shamanic,
Mhm.
spiritual, and emotional, and heavy, might be scary. However, breaking through limiting beliefs, it's more level 0, it's mental, it's a little less scary, but the implication, the practical application, literally the words are the same. It's the same book, different cover. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Total,
think it's really brilliant that you changed the name to that
you
because
get it?
I think it's the right vibe for level 0. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then I was talking about
Yes.
how, okay, so how silly would it be? And what I'm speaking to right now is it's not what to think, it's how to think. It's a book about metacognition, and it's about critical thinking. And it's not about throwing out my beliefs and taking on Zoe's. Tricky to write a book,
Uh-huh.
to write the book and say, okay, how do I question my beliefs? That's it. How do I look at them, look at my blueprints, pop the hood, look under the hood, what's running there? That's it. Just look at it
Yeah.
before you even feel like I'm challenging you to change them. It's just, do you even know what your beliefs are? Are you still on earth? Do you still have rent to pay? Is money easy? Is it hard? Are relationships easy? Are they hard? Is your family great? Are they
Yeah.
difficult? Like, those are coded into the mind at 6, by 0 to 6, right? Because from the
Mhm.
moment we're born to 6, it's like
Right.
theta is running and all we are is like a tape recorder. And so I actually am a huge
Yeah.
advocate for nihilism because I was one for a short amount of time. And what it did is it allowed me to detach myself from everything and then build my belief system from
Mhm.
scratch. And especially between the ages of
Yeah.
like 12 to 16, these are formative years of the brain. So not only did I get to consciously choose what gets to come into my belief system, but I started that process of questioning to the greatest degree. Do I even believe in God after leaving the Catholic Church? Are my parents right all the time?
Right.
Are my friends right? Are these books right? Like, just the power of just saying, is this true or not? That's the crack in the armor.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's where your shelf starts to break,
Mhm.
which is a good thing.
And
The broken shelf theory.
the lack of the attachment to it is huge.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like it's interesting. It's neat that both of us can speak on this because there's a huge disparity in our backgrounds in that you chose to leave at such a young age and you did this. You went through the nihilism and all of this and came to these conclusions on your own. Whereas for me, I was essentially walking with a foot in each world. I had the religious side of me and then I had the spiritual side of me, which never meshed. And not fully, of course, because you can't when it's a dogmatic idea, but I was constantly dealing with all these things that I was experiencing with my eyes and ears and everything. I'm all the clairs, but it was even, I would see things in the physical and just be like, this doesn't fit with the paradigm I've been fed. And so it was always just this battle of wills inside me. What do I believe? And if I believe that, I'm betraying this belief. So I'm either betraying my reality or I'm betraying what I was taught is how you have to think if you want to be the best person you can be, which of course that's what I wanted to be. And so I was constantly in that framework everywhere I went. It was butting up. Every experience I had was butting up against one or the other or both. And so I didn't get to the place where I was able to just stop and just say, let's let everything go. What do I believe? It was
Mhm.
like as soon as I let go of the dogmatic one, then it was like I was just an open book and I was just getting all of the things that I see, hear, and feel unfettered, or at least less fettered. And over time, it became more so. And so then I was able to ultimately come to an understanding or a conclusion of sorts of what I believed. But
Mhm.
those basic things, I wasn't necessarily looking at all. And I say basic, they're not basic, but the things you're talking about that we learn to believe in our cognitive windows as children, all the different cognitive windows. I don't know. Have you ever studied all that? Like the different age frames? Like, for instance, relationships, your parents' relationship really hits home for you and creates the mold in your mind I believe 2 to 3 years old. Don't
Mhm.
quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's around the age. And then once that cognitive window's shut, that was the window. And now you got to do a whole bunch of work to revise that, which we all do.
I would even
But this
argue
helps
it
you to do
starts
that.
before
And
that. This is my only
oh,
argument.
definitely. That's, yeah.
My argument for that would
Yes.
be when you are 100% water. Our bodies are 60, 70% now, right? So
Mhm.
in womb, we're basically jellyfish.
Yeah.
And those conversations, even
Good point.
without understanding English, we are picking up on the vibrations of how our parents treat each other in utero, right?
Yes.
And then you go back to Matsumoto's work,
Absolutely.
and you've got you've got DNA forming in water and these water crystals. We're not cognitively processing, making decisions, or creating any sort of constructs. However, patterns, like we are already picking up on energy and we're 100% water.
Hmm.
And then here we come. And then the English language comes in and starts to give, or whatever language you're born into, starts to give it form. Oh, that was mommy's voice.
Yes.
That was daddy's voice. Mommy's was the high pitched one, daddy's was the low pitched one. And so the way that language codifies our reality, that's now introduced what you said, scientifically speaking. Now we can actually see the neurons forming at age this. Men, cause and effect,
Uh-huh.
until we're 40. Sorry, ladies.
I
Yeah,
think a man found that
sincerely.
conclusion.
Yeah, sincerely. Yeah, we bought ourselves some time. It's actually 20, but we'll tell them it's 40. And then we'll just get away
Yeah,
with
there you go.
get away with everything. It was my brain, honey. It wasn't me.
Um,
Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, to your point. And then you have all the theta and the alpha and the beta waves and things like that.
yeah, and what you said earlier, we were talking about this, and what you've done here with this book is come in from a cognitive angle so that we can all process it, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to appeal to everyone, what regardless of where we're at belief wise, is to be able to, if we want to fix something, we want something that has structure and works in our brain. If somebody were to walk up to you and say, hey, you want to fix this, let's energetically fix this, you've got to do the work, but you can energetically heal it. You're going to be like, I don't know what to do. Not you, Zoe. Somebody's going to be like, I don't know what to do. What does that even mean? What's energy? How does it work? Then you've got to go into all of that. But cognitively, you can say, ask the questions, ask the right questions, present the right framework, and then voila, a light goes on. And then that light goes on, and then that causes someone to open up to an idea, and then that's where the energy can come in, and that's where the other facets of healing, the integrations that we need to bring in for real healing, because real healing can't just happen in one faction, like cognitive
Or
or
can it?
spiritual.
Is that a limiting belief? There's a
I mean,
question. Is it likely? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's how sneaky our beliefs are. They make their way into our
true,
language,
that's a
right?
very good point.
So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying
Yeah, they really
what
do.
would happen, like in the process of metacognition. So for people who don't understand that, what metacognition, it is
Mhm.
the ability to observe one thinking, watching ourselves think.
Mm.
Abraham Lincoln was supposedly like a master of this, and I'm sure many great thinkers. I'm sure Einstein, Tesla, they were all great at this. Gandhi was probably good at it too. You cut out.
It's a prereq.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, I said it's a prereq to being a master. Yeah.
100%. And how do you copy paste bottle that for people? It's now some would say
Right.
impossible, or you've done it long enough that you can break it into steps, you can break it into questions. And the end goal, it isn't to make you believe what I believe, because that would be, in my opinion, an abomination and a bastardization. I'm telling you to be a free thinker, I'm telling you to be a sovereign being, but in order to do so, you have to believe what I believe. No. Question
Hmm.
everything you think is real. And so now enter stage left, courage. How many people, whether they mean to or not, live in a field of assumption in order to give themselves a false sense of security? So you need, this is,
And that's the ego's job.
that's the ego's job. Good point. Yes. The ego's
Yeah.
job is to keep you safe, even at your own expense. So it'll take you,
Define everything as you go. Label, lap labels.
and then there is, to a degree, you can blame the brain for this because its job in the space of efficiency is it needs conclusions quick, fast, put it on the desktop as a shortcut because it's a survival mechanism. Thinking a lot takes energy.
Yeah.
So they say deep thinkers, about 20% of our calories go to our brain.
Oof, I didn't know that. That's a fun little fact. I did not know that.
So if you are a deep
Wow.
thinker and you're wondering why you're hungry, even though you've just been sitting on the lotus flower all day long, so you could imagine
Yeah, I was gonna say I probably got
you could imagine in a survival state, the brain's going to try to make shortcuts. So we don't have time for this. We don't have energy for this. So we're going to say, God is this or God is that. Life is this or life is that. It will default to black and white thinking, which is actually defined as a mental distortion, which is just shy of a mental illness.
as a mental
Distortion. So common cognitive distortions, according to psychology: disqualifying the positive, overgeneralization, all or nothing thinking, jumping to conclusions, catastrophizing, emotional reasoning, should statements, labeling and mislabeling, personalization, they, not I, so exclusion. And the one we were just talking about is all or nothing or black and white thinking. So I feel like the last time I was really deep into black and white thinking, I was like 18. And then I went on this road trip from age 17 to 19 where I got to see all of the US. I lived in a van with two other guys and a dog, and we were snowboarding. And I got to see how all these people in different states live. My little young brain trying to be like, well, which is the right way? And it's literally geographically whatever works in this town, state, home, whatever. That really the world is a series of ecosystems, and that once you learn to traverse them and make kind with the natives wherever you go, learn their customs, right, and be respectful and assimilate, that it like washed the all or nothing thinking out of my brain forever.
awesome. Every kid should go through that little rite of passage. Yeah, for sure. Opens your mind. And I have to say, the way that you have this structured, it's so helpful because you didn't, if I recall correctly, you didn't even put examples of these, like you elaborated a little bit. Am I right in saying that? You
Tiny.
didn't put like actual examples. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was helpful because you're not telling somebody what to believe or what not to believe. You're saying, is this framework working for you? And what's coming through that framework? And by looking at that framework, by focusing on it, could you possibly see another answer or realize what you've been allowing yourself to drag around all this time that's just not necessary and it's probably hurting you? So it's fascinating. It's so helpful. I cannot wait to launch it on all of my people. It sounds like a weapon, but it is, in a sense, it's one of those good weapons. It's if you were to be able to put together like really healthy bacteria into a bomb and just bomb a city with healthy bacteria
Probiotics for
and
everyone.
everybody. Yeah.
I'm sure.
That's what it feels like though, because it does relate. What?
I was just saying,
What'd you say?
as opposed to other bacteria, probiotics feels like that would be like good gut health for everyone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Like that. Like that inner eco stuff, just spray it out of an Uzi. But it's like that. It's because it applies to everything. It doesn't just apply to somebody who's leaving dogma and trying to understand what they believe. It applies to anyone, anywhere, for any reason, as long as you have the cognitive ability to metacognite. How would you say that? To meta think.
Metacognize, metacognate. Not sure.
That sounds like a cool rock.
Metacognate.
Metacognite.
This did say, what is a metacognitive belief? Your deeply held, often unconscious ideas about your own thinking processes. If somebody
Mm,
says, I have a great
there
long
it is.
term memory, that's an observation of their own inner process. I'm
Hmm.
really good at problem solving. I'm really good at math. Or somebody says, I struggle with math. Or I'm a really good writer. I struggle with creativity. That is a metacognitive belief. Learn something
Yeah,
new.
and how many people wouldn't even think that, wouldn't even assume that at all, because it's just, to them, it's just a given. It's just who I am. Like, I never questioned why I thought that's who I am or what led me to think that's who I am. So, yeah. And the more we tell ourselves we are a certain way too, of course, that drives it home. And then we just start to be that way even more.
Never
Yeah.
questioning, why do I enroll myself in this blueprint that's holding me back?
Yeah. Which again, because a lot of people might not identify, going back to, I know that you put it in as an aside, but I think it's really important. It's an important point that you originally wanted to name the book. What was it exactly again? It was
Breaking the spells we put on ourselves.
Breaking the Spells We Put on Ourselves. I remember the breaking the spells part. But yeah, so a lot of people wouldn't even identify with that, right? Not realize that they're under a spell. The vast majority. And even those of us who might resonate with it, once we dive into the book, which is such an easy read, it's not like a dive in this big long anthology. I love the way that it's structured because it's just simple and clear and to the point. And just, if you get into it, you'll look at it. And even if you were already questioning your beliefs, or even if you did resonate with breaking a spell, you realize just how deep that rabbit hole actually goes. And it's not a scary rabbit hole. Again, it's not like something that you have to traverse forever and really dig deep. And it's pretty straightforward. The questions that you ask, the things you point out, they're very accessible on the surface of the mind, to me anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how it felt to read it, to go through it. First of all, it wasn't daunting. I get very overwhelmed. I'm obsessed with self-help everything. Just nature of the beast. My entire 48 years, I've been obsessed with it. I guess 45. I started when I was like 3. I get overwhelmed when I get any nonfiction books. And you can see that by my Kindle. You can
Mhm.
see I'm stopped in books all over the place. Like I have a zillion books that I haven't finished because I have to take them in little bite-sized pieces. The minute you apply it, you're like overwhelmed. You're just working on that. But what you've done is you've condensed a lifetime. Honestly, I was looking at it and just in awe about the fact that this was all stuff. And I know it took you a long time too to come to these conclusions, but you've broken it down so that it doesn't have to take everybody a long time. It's really clear. It's right there. Again, it's accessible. It's
Mhm.
easy. The rabbit hole is not scary. There's lights all the way down.
So
Your path is
encouraging.
lit.
Aw,
Yeah.
I appreciate
Little
that.
fluffy bunnies.
That I mean that kind of is my end goal, is can I take 20 years of experience and put it into 30 pages? That was the first challenge, without it being super
Wow.
dense, heavy, any of that. Can I save the point of that being, can I save somebody 20 years? I tell people, you can envy my results if you want, but I guarantee you don't want my journey. I guarantee you do not want to
Right.
learn what I learned, how I learned it, and I don't recommend it. I was lucky to survive. What did they say? That the hero and the villain, the only thing that's different is that they both fall, but the villain wants to share his pain with the world, and the hero wants to protect people from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Yeah. I
that
love that.
the underlying tone of all of my messages. It's not, okay, I'm on my pulpit and I'm standing in the ivory tower and hear me now. It's learning this shit is really painful. And if I can help you avoid it without
Yeah.
losing the quality of the lesson, I will. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have your own journey, because you might read this and get it because you were ready. You were 99% of the way, and I gave you the last 1%, and it goes click. Thank you for the puzzle piece, and you're off to the races. For other people,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the first time they've asked this question, They might think I'm crazy and wrong, and 10 years later they'll go, that's what he meant. Got it.
That's
And
very true.
and hopefully it saved them 10 years. Hopefully it wasn't 20 years they figured it out on their own. It was like, okay, I did it in 10, cool. Or I did it in a month. Acceleration. I saw this cool special about this crow or raven, can't remember, living in New York in Grand Central Park, or what's it called? That was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Central Park, Central
I
Park.
think they just call it Central Park. Yeah,
Central
yeah.
Park. So Central Park, there's this raven that has learned to take the bread from the people that throw it on the ground. Instead of eating it, he'd go use it to catch a fish.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love ravens. I love crows. They're so smart.
It's beautiful. Unfortunately, here's the
Mhm.
tragedy. Because they're not social beings, that skill set dies with him.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, they don't. Yeah, they don't. The way that their children leave the nest, and that's it. Like, of course, you have your flocks and things like that. You have your murder of crows, but they don't learn in the
Yeah.
same way as, say, monkeys or humans.
They teach each other.
Yet conscious passing on of information. So the beauty of being a
Yeah.
mammal is saying, here's how you fish. That's the beauty of being able to teach as a mammal, as a social being.
Yeah.
Our skill set doesn't have to die with us. Nobody has to go through all of it if they don't want to. So there's always a caveat. Okay, here's the quick way or whatever. Here's the short way, but you lose the lesson. And then here's the long
Right.
way, but you might die in the process. So where is the middle ground? It's giving people the questions,
Beautiful.
so they can still go on their journey without me directing it.
Yeah. That's so powerful. And I keep in my mind going back to our kids. If you can really manage to do this, then our children can also bypass so many of the things that we hope to help them bypass. That's powerful. That's a legacy right there. People think leaving a legacy for your children was setting them up financially, basically. But to set them up with this kind of wealth, wisdom is infinitely more powerful because now they've got the tools to go forward and do what they were going to do and they can fall back on it. The money that can dry up, they could misspend it, all of those things. But if they have the wisdom, they can come back from ground zero and over again if necessary.
Well,
Hopefully not necessary.
wisdom gives the ability to make it without me, make the money without me.
Yeah.
Critical thinking, going back to what you were saying, yes, level 0, this is great for that. And at the highest level of consciousness, there are still beliefs. So even the very advanced, and we've seen this in our own community, we've sat with sages and what are they called? The crone?
Yeah. Crohn's.
Yeah, the elders.
Yes.
We've sat with many elders. And have you experienced limiting beliefs in their language?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I would even venture to say that the more spiritually minded, like the people you're referring to, or the more intellectually minded, the more difficult it is to even metacognite.
Metacognize?
Because
We're just
you're
making up words
too,
now.
yeah, I love that word now. But yeah, it's like because now they have the wall, the barrier of the belief that they already know, that they already have the answers. In my community on school, as a side note, I have one question that is the big red flag question. If somebody answers it wrong, I don't even let them into the group. And this is probably the only place I'll ever say this, and you can even dub this out if you want to, but I think it's really part of the conversation. It asks, if you are granted entry into this group, do you feel like you're here to learn, or what is it that you're here to do? And one of the answers, they are multiple choice answers. And one of the answers is, I've already got this shit figured out, but I'll help.
Oh,
I'm
that's
here to help.
horrible. If my goal
And
is to
it's
get
like,
to level 10, yes, I have it figured out. My goal is level infinite. I am always going to be on the
exact.
treadmill.
Yep.
Great
Student of
question.
life always, no matter where we are. Yeah. And if somebody hasn't achieved at least that much awareness in their life yet that they are always a student of life, then they have not learned shit. I'm sorry, but they're not there. And that's okay. Life will get them there. It gets us all there at some point. Yeah. So,
It's the process of having it all figured out for real, and then the universe pulls the rug out from under you for real. And I've watched the
exactly.
most powerful, enlightened, loving people be rocked to their core.
Oh, me?
And they're like, oh, who am I? What am I doing? What do I do
Yeah.
next? I mean that with
Mhm.
no judgment, just completely
No, it's
observationally.
absolutely true.
Being one of those people, I feel like after the third time my life exploded, I felt like I was okay with not knowing what's going to happen from now on. I was okay with not being a know-it-all. I was okay with being wrong. It seemed less dangerous
Mhm.
than to get into a space of complacency and arrogance.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
100%. I would never feign to say that I have everything all figured out ever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just fighting words for the universe. You're just bringing the fight. Come on, hit me with it. Yeah, no, I'm good.
And
I
here's a
know.
fun
I
question.
understand.
Thank you. Thanks for not killing me. Now, here's an interesting thing to look at. If we look at the mind, imagine it's like a Venn diagram or something, right? And you've got habits, beliefs, what else? Reflexes, responses. Let's say that's the anatomy of the mind a little bit,
Okay.
not including cognition, problem solving, creativity, but looking at those pieces. What happens if you just remove the idea of beliefs in the first place? Like, what could you replace it with? Like, how would we function without them?
I don't know because it's like a filter. Everything goes through the filter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know. We could name it something else, but it would still be beliefs.
Here's an interesting thought. That's why I asked this question. Sincerely, I wasn't trying to trick you or anything. I was just posing you with the question that I was posed one time by my ancestors. What would you do without your beliefs?
Right.
So, observation.
Wow. Yeah.
Shifting into a space of observation. So, a belief is a filter. We're essentially projecting our construct onto reality. But the third eye doesn't do that. It's like a black hole. It's like the eye, it just absorbs light, doesn't interpret.
Yeah.
The brain interprets it and says,
Right.
okay, here's what it is and here's what it isn't. But before it gets to there, there's observation. So being able to move into a space of observation without judgment, without labeling, and to just watch.
It's crazy that's a practiced, if you think about it, that's something to achieve. That's a practiced state of being that not everybody can, they could if they worked hard enough at it, but it's an achievement.
Fully neutral. That's the
Hmm.
idea. Yeah, completely neutral. And it's almost like it's consciously choosing to put yourself in a state of awe.
Yeah. That's easy in my world, though. I feel like I have a leg up. That's not fair.
That's
Just being a medium, you know what I mean?
yeah, but you see the function to it. So now we're questioning the belief about beliefs in the first place. So are
Yeah.
they necessary?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a
Are they
very good thought to ponder.
are they
And
just
it's a yes or
is
no
it just
question.
a
Is it a yes
safety
or no
blanket?
question?
Is it just a safety
Yeah.
blanket or is it actually because even science doesn't work on belief, it works on data. It's here's the evidence, here's the facts, here's what we know, here's what we don't know. Okay,
Mhm.
don't know, and I have a theory of it, a hypothesis. Let's run it through the ringer. Take all of the Western interpretations of it out. Take all of the Eastern interpretations, and then all you have is this relationship with spirit. That's what I think spirituality is,
Definitely.
right?
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all it is. So then you have this. Okay, it's just spirituality. That is my like definition of spirituality. Is it's not an act, it's not a thought, it's not a belief. It is a relationship.
Yes.
Then you have spiritual practice, differs from tribe to tribe. Then you have spiritual philosophy, right? You
Mhm.
have spiritual path, and everything sits on there.
Wow. Yeah.
And so where I lovingly see our colleagues fall off that path into ego is largely in belief. My guru said this. My guru could beat up your guru. My Reiki's better. You didn't read that properly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely, it's profound. It's profound. Even like going back to you coming up with all of this stuff, let's say it only took you 20 years, which I know in essence it took you your whole life too. But the amount of time that you put into it and the amount of lessons that you built along the way, lessons, right? Beliefs that you accumulated, had to examine, re-examine, change throughout all that time to where you got to the point that you could dispel all of this into this very manageable, bite-sized book that's just so powerful and negates a lot of that struggle for them. I keep thinking of it as like Edison, Thomas Edison. How many times did he try? And then all of a sudden he gets it. And it's fun because it's the light bulb, right? The light bulb is indicative of an aha moment. And it's so nice to have an aha moment without all of the things that lead to that aha that are just so taxing. And he was willing to go through that. He had like a passion, a drive to do that. And I just find it fascinating because that's how I think of you, as you're this Edison of beliefs, and you put in all this energy and you just kept on. And it's, if I hit a brick wall, that's not a stopping point. It's like those little, when you do the mazes with your kids and you teach them to take the line around the edge so that you're never bumping against the wall, you're just like staying parallel to it. It's like that. You're just, you're like, no, that's not it. Okay. All right. That's just not the right way. I'll just go this way. And you just keep going until you get it. And then you're like, okay, now I've got the answer. Here you go. And it's just the same thing. And not to diss on Tesla. I know the whole Edison Tesla thing. So
The
you know,
rivalry, yeah, the
yeah,
beef.
yeah. Truth just happened to exist in more than one place at that time. Imagine that. Two
Well, and
people capitalized on it.
what's funny is Tesla was more of the divine feminine in that equation, and Edison was
Yeah,
not.
I would definitely agree.
Edison was trying to get that bag. Tesla was here to heal the
Yeah.
world. Yeah, he wanted free energy
Yeah.
for everyone. And yeah, and they both had their place.
Right.
Yeah, we would not have cell phone towers without both of them.
Very good. True. Yeah. Very good point. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's about, you've been through the building and dissolution of 1,000 beliefs. Whereas somebody who reads this book may have been under the same spell their whole entire life and are just now opening their mind to it, and in so doing can come to a conclusion that's actually healthy and balanced and leads to a much brighter existence for them without having to go through all of the other stuff. Because not everybody can just be like a mad scientist in their bat cave.
I'm a, but it's funny because I don't know if it was the Capricorn in me, the projector in me, or both that came to the conclusion. It's like, okay, we've already dissolved X amount of thousand beliefs. Like owning a business when you're 25 and traveling all over the US, moving to different countries, leaving your religion at 10, those are going to force you to constantly have to question your own beliefs. What am I not seeing? Did I approach this from the correct space in the first place? Let's start over. Eventually I did it enough. I think of it visually, it's like bending a piece of metal until it breaks.
Yes,
It
totally.
seems impossible to break, but you do it long enough and it goes, and then that was it. I was like, how useful are beliefs?
Wow.
What are they doing for me? Now let's say I'll be my own devil's advocate. Somebody might say, don't you have to believe in yourself? I have done so many things when I don't believe in myself. I don't have the courage. I don't trust myself. I don't think I can do this, but I try. I come in as an experiment. Okay, this is an experiment. What am I capable
Mhm.
of? How am I holding myself back? Like it's in the process that I learn myself.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay, here's all my preconceived notions and conclusions. Let's start from here. And then you've had those students walk in. Here's everything I know. I teach me. I dare you. even if I were to go back, let's say start screen printing again, I probably screen printed 50,000 t-shirts by hand. I had 300 clients, and I think we did something like, I think we had 70,000 files on our hard drive in between the time we opened and closed. So I've done the repetitions, right? And never ever assumed this job is going to go just like the last.
Oh, that's good.
I knew I had a system that
Yeah.
worked. I also know maybe the humidity changes and now we have to cure
Yeah.
it longer. They might need to use a color we've never used before. They might want to
So
print on
many
a place I've
variables.
never printed. There's always variables.
Yeah.
And if it isn't somewhere in the machinery, the physics, the mechanics, the timing, it's the
Mhm.
person. Yeah.
The energy, the climate, whatever's going on in the background. Think about COVID, just as an example of that. Just the overlying energy in the air of the whole entire world shifted into something different there. That was a completely unexpected variable. I don't think anybody could have, unless they were part of it, I don't think anybody could have foreseen.
And on a low
Yeah.
level, exactly, we get sick. That's never on the plan. That's never on the calendar. So there was something about that, I think even translated over into my medicine journeys. When I'd go into every medicine journey, I'd be like, I don't know what I'm going to get. As an active observer, as a neutral person, as an open thinker, I hope it goes well. I'll take all of the steps and measures to ensure my own safety. Hopefully, this is beneficial. Hopefully, I see something, learn something new about myself. Maybe I won't, without attachment. And by losing attachment, because you think about it, like the idea of attachment and spell is synonymous,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's
right?
so true.
So
Yes.
I would even explain, paint the picture that spells, the beliefs that are holding us back, that we've to be accountable, have put on ourselves. We've granted them sanctions. So we take accountability for the fact that we took a lie and made it true. That's a spell.
Yes.
And what happens is I can no longer move freely. I can still move. I can still go through the motions. I can appear to be well, but am I living the measure of my creation?
Right. Okay.
Am I at my 110%? I'm riddled with all of these preconceived notions that this isn't possible, or I'm not good enough, or whatever.
Yeah.
So the idea of releasing a spell, it's okay, don't think what I think. I'll show you how to think. I'll show you how to unravel these. And the juice for me isn't selling the book, because it's free, for God's sakes, for starters. The thing that gets me up in the morning and inspires me to do this is I love seeing souls be free.
Me too.
I
Mhm.
love seeing people in their full form.
Yeah.
I don't get
Definitely.
jealous when I drive through nice neighborhoods. I'm not like, he's probably crooked or money's the root of all evil. I'm just like, good for you guys. I'm like,
Exactly.
lime green Lamborghini, outrageous. Good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know. It just makes me happy. It's so true. And I like what you're talking about here with the attachments, because I was gonna bring that up and you said it right when I was thinking it. These attachments, not just to the beliefs, but to the outcome that we anticipate based on those beliefs, like you said. And it blends in with the concepts that we know about manifesting, intentional manifesting. It flies in the face of SMART goals, the SMART goals. That's your very do this, do that, very masculine approach to optimizing your life. But intentional manifesting, of course, has such an added element, of the feminine. And one of those things is letting go of attachment. And it's a practice. It's definitely a practice. And being able to do that ensures, because what causes disappointment? Attachment. Like,
Pain.
and
Yep.
yeah.
Attachment is
And
the root
what
of all
causes,
pain.
yeah. Yeah. And like disappointment in itself, or disillusionment, worse, is the thing that leads people to give up. And that is what, at the bottom line, I'm here for all day, every day, is to keep people from giving up, even if they don't have the wherewithal, to focus on anything deeper than just what belief is getting me here. And that's, again, why I love this book so much, because it speaks to that. It takes it all the way. It really does. You followed through on what you said. Ground zero, like this is level zero. Let's just hash it out from the trenches. I know you're bleeding right now. There's a tourniquet on your leg, and there's like active fire happening over our heads right now, but let's just look at this. You can do that right now in this moment, even where you're at. Don't give up is the point. Don't give up. And so don't be attached to the outcome. And I hate to use the word don't so much, but let go of the outcome. Let go of the outcome, but don't let go of your tenacity. Don't let go of your hope. I think that's at the real bottom line.
And
So,
are there possibilities you aren't seeing?
yes,
Chances are high. I,
which is what
we
hope is,
want to
right?
think we're smart. Yeah, I love humans. We want to think we have stuff figured out.
Yeah.
What have we been writing books for 20,000 years and we're just scraping the surface? And what's funny is even if I were to absorb all the information in the world, the second that I'm triggered, my amygdala fires and I've lost access to all the great quotes and all the advice and everything. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It
yeah,
disappears magically. Yeah.
yeah. So it has value,
Yes.
but it's not always accessible. And asking questions, that really is the root of the book, is when we ask questions, it turns the brain, it switches the brain into a different mode. Instead of me saying,
Mhm.
here's what you need to do, that's you're really a lot of time you're going to hit gestalt, you're going to butt up against their beliefs immediately. Why should I? Who is this guy? What's his background? Blah blah blah.
Even their
Which is why,
misunderstanding of what you're saying could get in the way.
totally. Which is why these videos
Mhm.
are important. We're able to create clarity and unpack them and respond to them. And
Yeah. And raise questions. Getting back to your point, you're asking questions. It's a way in. Me, I love the, I always say the back door of the conscious, like the subconscious, being able to get through to the mind, because the mind is such a powerful gripper. I always see a raccoon. You can trap a raccoon by putting food in a little cage that has a hole big enough for their hand to get in, but then they grab the food and they can't get out, and they literally trap themselves with their
that's totally
inability
how the
to
mind
realize,
works.
just let go. Yeah. Yeah. It's like that. We all
Unless
have
you
steel
train it,
traps. Mhm.
unless, so there's a question, does my mind have to operate that way? Yeah, that's legit. When psychology says here's our conclusion, I'll be like, great. Am I the exception? is
Perfect.
is this belief serving me? Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, right? I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, do I have physical proof that there is a God? So do I have it? No. There's great evidence, right? I have yet to see some dragon head in the sky pop over Earth and be like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot about you guys for a million years. How you been doing? Oh, by the way, I'm God." Right? We haven't got that yet. So
Yeah.
it's largely belief. There's feeling. There's this knowing. There's millions of people who have been on medicine journeys who've sat with ancestors and spirits. So there's a lot of very strong evidence. So let's say Capricorn brain says, I don't have proof. Okay. The question isn't, is there not a God? It is it functional to believe I'm alone? Or is it more functional to believe that there's an ineffable, unknowable, infinite force with an omnipotent mind who wants me to succeed?
And I guess that answer would definitely vary from person to person, which is what's so beautiful about the fact that it's a question instead of a statement.
That's it.
It applies to all, and you can choose. It's a choose your own adventure book.
And what
Yeah.
a lot of folks now, if you were to go through multiple accounts of people who have gone on ayahuasca journeys, many of them very left brain, doctors, lawyers, scientists, people who've
Mhm.
died, come back to life, they'll tell you the latter. They'll be like, no, I found proof.
Yeah.
Zoe doesn't have it still, but I am happy for them that they do. So what's great is now they have the function from now on. They no longer believe they're alone. How does that affect their behavior? Are they happier? Are they healthier? Are they more pleasant to be around? Are they more inspired? Are they more motivated? That's what I mean by function.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if I believe I'm truly alone, then it's not conclusive, but the chances of what if my morality and ethics start to slip? What if I just, oh, there's no point to anything? And then
Mhm.
this path to despair might open up if I feel like there's nothing out there and there's no point, and this is just a random happenstance, this whole universe, this
Yeah.
whole life, right?
Yes. And I've
I'm
seen that a lot with people.
we've seen this. Yeah,
Yeah,
despair is very real.
it is. It is. Yeah. And you know that I've crossed over twice. And the second time I was in my 30s and I had two of my children were already in the living at the time. And I still remember because I heard the voice of what a lot of people would say was God. And I was, at the time, I was still Mormon. And so my beliefs, I believed, were centered around that concept. But none of what happened, none of what was said, none of any of it, except for the fact that it was a distinctly male voice, I guess you could say that falls under their
Could be in
that
some
belief system.
interpretation or filtration.
Yeah, and I also I've done a lot of research since my own NDEs especially, but into other NDEs, and it seems to me that it always presents through the filter of your cognition. Like you said, like we are all individually attuned to our own sense of reality, and whatever that is a filter that when you cross over and you meet the other side, so to speak, which could be brain chemistry firing off, right? Which could be your ancestors gathering around and giving you an experience that's very specific to your family or your lineage, or there's so many different possibilities of what it
Somebody
could
else
be.
could see Ganesh or a yellow dog, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
There's
the
that book,
being
The
isn't
Cabin.
real.
Yeah.
It just, the
Mhm.
experience is unique, is individualized.
And it
Yeah.
is. If you've done enough reading of NDEs, it's extremely individualized. And so it, for me, even at the time, as a Mormon, having gone through that, I knew that I had heard the voice of something, but I couldn't even quantify it because none of what it said, nor any of the circumstance fit within that paradigm. And that was actually when my shelf really started to break. That was where I started really questioning things. And the only thing that made me hang on was the fear that that dogma puts into you in the first place of free thinking. You're taught if you're thinking freely and it doesn't align with this, and they lay it out for you. And of course, it's all oxymoronic as it is. So you have to figure out where's reality in this. But at the same, it's all dogma. And if your thoughts don't align with that, if your way of seeing doesn't align with that, then you are being led by the devil, which of course everybody's terrified of. So I
Find the
guess in a
other way on this
nutshell,
book. By the way, Eden edited this book, and I
oh,
love the point you're making. We got to add that, by the way.
well,
And I love the
thank
point
you.
you're making. And you've died and come back to life. So what a great person and arena to put this out. Like, you have first person experience that I don't. And
I
I'm going
definitely have a couple
totally on
mixed.
feeling. I'm going totally on feeling that there's something out there, not belief, not assumption. And then I'm doing the
Mhm.
logical deduction of, okay, this is a pretty organized universe. We're talking down to the atoms. Chances are high. Like, chances are high.
Yeah.
Equally high, I don't know what it looks like. What if creator evolves so fast that by the time you can wrap your mind around it, it's
Oh,
changed to
yeah.
something else?
My favorite thing that I love to say is that just if you wish to know the creator, then study the created. And if you study the created, you'll never ever run out of material, which means that the creator is absolutely endless in every way possible. And
Mhm.
all the ways that you don't even know are ways. There's just infinity.
Just the amount of data it would take to understand all of quantum physics and all of microbiology. And those are the
Sure, yeah.
smallest units of matter, energy, and biology that we know of. There's
Mhm.
what, 20 lifetimes right there?
Oh, at least,
Yeah.
at least because during those lifetimes there would be more discoveries made and more
Some of those discoveries were
elaboration.
only made because they were standing on the shoulders of the generation before them. They didn't
Yeah.
even have they wouldn't have had that material to go, okay, this is our highest truth. Okay, now what?
Yes.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
acceleration, and then you add technology and accidents. How many like scientific breakthroughs came around because oops, I left the petri dish out.
So true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to your point, to know the creator is to observe the creator, which I love. It's if I did get it, if I could see it for what it is and got it, there's no way I could put it into words.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's actually how it was for me. I didn't go to church the next day and expound my newfound wisdom upon all the people around me. I wasn't, because I didn't even know how to quantify it. I didn't know how to express what I had just experienced. And like I said, it did not fit with the Mormon paradigm. So it caused me to have this huge existential crisis for the next however many years. That was back in 2008. And I didn't really hit the point where I came into my own with spirituality. Even though I'd been seeing and hearing and feeling all my life, I was taught those were bad things. I was taught that I had basically demons following me around. I got them blessed out of me all the time. They were trying to
Right.
bless out of me. Seriously, if I had $1 for every time I've had hands laid on my head to
Oh.
bless my gifts out of me, I would be a very wealthy person right now. And that is absolute fact.
Dear Yeshua, please remove her IQ points in critical thinking.
Yeah. And so when it happened, it was so outside of the realm of my understanding that I just sat on it for a while. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make with it is just that people will say, okay, I know, but that's because their paradigm is that if they see it, it makes it whatever their perception is at the time, period, end of story. I saw that man
What's
grab
their
that
heart?
woman's purse. Therefore, he's a thief. She had her purse stolen. It's her husband. He's using it to go to the car. She asked him to take her purse to the car, right? There's
Great
a
example.
cookie thief. You put the cookie thief in the book. Like,
We sure
perfect
did.
example.
We sure did.
Yep.
I love
Yep.
that poem.
Me
It's rocked
too.
me in so many ways.
Me
How many
too.
times have I thought I was totally right, only 5 years to realize later I was 100% wrong. I wasn't the victim. I was the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And that's like a
And see, and
deep
I think,
level of truth that I've only been able to get through shadow work, which is why
uh-huh.
anybody asks me, like, do you do shadow work? I'm like, no. And if you do, definitely don't go in alone. Unless, I think, not to toot the Capricorn's horn, but if there's anybody, let's say the Pisces and the Capricorn together, okay? If there's
Mhm.
anybody who can go into the shadow realm and then come back, it's that pair.
Mm, yeah. And
Because
you've got both in your chart.
and I have both. That's my
Yeah.
emotion. Yeah, so it's the intuition. My Pisces moon is very comfortable swimming in that realm. And the
Uh-huh.
Capricorn is the one constantly saying, "Hey, are you on track? Like, where were you? Where are you going? Where were you? Where are you going? Okay, did you get it? Okay, let's get out of here."
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I wonder too at that. And I also have like my water sun and my earth moon.
And you have
And
your
I think
Taurus
it does the
moon.
same for me. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
I think it does the same for me in a way, in a sense. And the combination is so fine-tuned. It's so custom made. Obviously, I believe we designed it for ourselves. There's a belief for you, and nobody has to adopt it. But it
Uh-huh.
just seems to make sense to me that we chose these things for ourselves as a soul and knowing exactly what it was that we were coming to do. And so the specific set of zodiac signs in my chart and yours make it possible to have almost as a default a meta way of looking at things. And too, I also have a lot of Aquarius in my whole chart, and that's very meta. But and I think you have Libra as your rising, first of all. There's some meta right there.
North
But the
Node
point of
Virgo.
them, yes, that's right. Yeah. So as all of these things, what the point that I'm driving to is that from the beginning, when I experienced something, I've never wanted to share something that I don't feel resonant all the way to my core. And so to be able to do that, this book is like so helpful to me because I can sit down and use it to come from that space in a conscious way instead of just, oh, I don't want to like ruffle any feathers and I don't want to push my beliefs on anyone. So I'm always very cautious about what I share, what I teach. And a lot of times it's actually been a stumbling block for me because then I'll hold back when I shouldn't, when it would be more beneficial to expound upon something. I'll bite my tongue simply from the fact that I'm like, ooh, but am I pushing this on somebody else, even just by telling my own experience? And so having this book in front of me, like I've gone over it so many times already, I'm basically memorizing all the little things that you put in here. Cause again, they are so digestible. It's so nice because I can actually manage to, even with my short term memory, I can actually manage to keep most of it in mind, front of mind, as I'm faced with these situations where I have to ask myself, do I say something right now? Do I not?
Uh-huh. And that's
And those
that's where
opportunities.
the ancillary functions of our mind can take place in belief. What anytime that I can, anytime that I can remove belief. Now I can't always do it, but anytime I can remove belief from the equation, I do.
Mm,
So rather than like
amazing.
you just said, what I believe is blank. Nothing wrong with that. I would have said it's very
Yeah,
possible that
I
before we
like that
came
better.
here, we chose our zodiac signs. It's inconclusive and it's true, and then it's not relegating. What if I get new information? That
Right.
was possible, but so is this. What if I get
Uh-huh.
new information? So is this. Right? So it just clears the path for evolution as opposed to like skipping to a belief and holding on to it like a rock in the middle of a river. There's no more rocks. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, there's way more rocks. Or
Yeah,
there's like this bridge of possibility and you can take it one at a time. That's the
right.
thing. It's more fluid, right? To just work within
Yeah.
possibility. And
Uh-huh.
one thing I would say is, of course, like you're trained. You've been to hell and back multiple times. You know what you're capable of. You can dive into this book for a day. Done, start to
Yeah.
finish. Some people, I would say, take it a question at a time. It doesn't have to be in it. Like, take one question and sit with it for a week. What do I believe about God? What do I believe about my parents? What do I believe I'm capable of? Those are big questions.
Yeah.
You and I are comfortable with that. You and I have those questions come to us from other people. So it's like on the tip of our tongue, right? It's in the forefront of our mind. What I
Mm.
do where we're constantly, my friend used to call himself a psychonaut, right? We're constantly delving into the mental realm. We're going into the emotional, spiritual, physical, just talking about diet, all that. That's on the tip of our tongue. This is relevant, fresh, new, like not new for us. Yes.
Yeah.
Other people are
Exactly.
working jobs as accountants. This is not even on their radar.
True. And
So
they
what?
won't even lose their place. They can just open it, read a
That,
sentence, let it simmer.
that's it.
Won't even lose your place.
Read a
You're not going to
page.
forget anything. Yeah.
Flip to a page, just like when you pull your tarot card. Just flip to a page, see what you get, go on with your day. And if it creates an impact, great, but that's not my intention. If it causes you to pull anything into question, that's it. That's my intention. It's like as soft as I could possibly be. And you know what's
Hmm.
really funny? You know how long it took me to write this?
46 years.
Uh, curating it took me 4 to 6 years. No, to sit down, start to finish,
How long?
6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What?
Uh-huh. I did it in a day.
Did I know this? I didn't know this, I
I
don't
don't think
think.
I told you that. No.
Wow.
I
That's
like
insane.
I remember because it was a conversation. The thing that even triggered this was it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to teach the world. I had a conversation with my roommate at the time, and then she was upset. She had her friend over, and they sat down and talked for 7, 8 hours, like the whole day. And I was like, okay, I can get mad about this, or what would I tell her? It was her limiting belief about
Mm.
this. I'm like, I could yell at her, I could trigger. I'm like, what? How could I teach her that this isn't serving her? And I just like
And then you just did it.
pumped
Oh,
out
look at it.
20 pages. Yeah,
Wow. And it started with
in an
asking yourself a
afternoon.
question. You asked yourself how. Very cool. And getting back to what you were saying about possibility too, speaking of which, because questions, right? Back door of the mind. Possibility also opens the back door of the mind. And there is a story in the Bible. I love sharing Bible stories because it helps me feel like I got something out of all my years in religion.
Not just trauma.
Yeah, not just trauma. There's some good stuff. No, but there are some really powerful things in there. But there's one story in the Bible about a man who had an unclean spirit, which I think of as dissonant beliefs, beliefs that harm us, an unclean spirit,
The
because they drive
original
us.
sin. There's one.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And like if you have a belief that's discordant, it's going to cause your behavior to act accordingly. And so you can send yourself in a whole myriad unfortunate paths that weren't necessary. And so, like, when you introduce possibility, it's like opening that mind that had the unclean spirit in it. But in the Bible story, what happened was the man cleaned out the unclean spirit from himself, or was blessed out of him, probably, and didn't fill it with anything. And so it filled up with seven. That one spirit brought back seven or something like that. And so then a whole bunch of unclean spirits inhabited his mind. And I think that speaks to
Mm.
two
So
things.
it wasn't benign, it was malignant.
Yes. So there's a belief right there. But it is very true that if clean out one belief and you don't replace it with any understanding or framework, which again is handled so beautifully with the context of this book, because you can replace the unclean spirits of those beliefs that are harming you and harming your path with just questions and
No
just
guru,
possibility.
no 10 days in Peru. Not that those are wrong, but if you don't
Right.
have the resources for that, yeah,
Yeah.
just questions. Is this belief serving me? Which one is it? What
Mhm.
if healing myself? I used to snowboard. I used to get hurt a lot. I'm
Mhm.
46 going on 47. At some point, people take on the belief, "Oh, I'm blank age, therefore I will not heal anymore." What, who said that? Who agreed to that?
Yeah. And we all do at some point, well, not all of us, but we do.
And as someone who healed herself from one of the most daunting journeys ever, you had to face some beliefs, right?
Oh, yeah. All of them. It was everything. It was at the core of everything. It had everything to do with Evergreen Eden is an homage to that resilience, to the Lazarus effect that life has somehow had on me, or that I've had on life, or both. But,
My brain, after my microdosing journey for 3 years, my brain operates completely differently in the most
no.
beautiful and efficient ways. And they say from years of drinking, years of drug abuse, no sleep, bad nutrition, most people would write themselves off.
Uh-huh.
I went on a microdosing journey, and then it works now
Isn't that amazing?
because I never succumbed to the belief that it wasn't fixable or changeable. Let's call it changeable. The idea of fix implying there's something broken.
Yes. Yes.
So
Changeable. That's beautiful. Yeah.
changeable. What my one of my shaman trainers from Mexico, he said, a miracle is just a change in reality. That's it.
Wow.
So simple.
That's so perfect. That's so perfect.
So can I change my reality? Okay, I hear what
Hmm.
science says. I hear what everybody says is and isn't possible. Can I change it?
Yeah.
So back to you. Is that
So,
essentially, whether you could put it into words or not, is that essentially where you were?
yes,
Because you decided to take
absolutely.
on cancer without chemo.
Yep.
So
And it
tell
was,
me what you were thinking, please. I've
there was
got to
it
know.
was it's funny that you ask, because now I'm realizing, remember how I always say the Aries in me, I have an Aries rising and Aries all over the place. And I always say there's no anger, that I just don't have any anger left. But that I do have rebellion.
That's a good
And there
quality.
was this
I
yeah.
support that. This
That's good because there's so much of it. I have plenty to share. But I seriously had this rebellious thought. It was my first thought when I found out that it was true that I had cancer. I was covered in tumors. It was a theory all along, my medical mystery diagnosis. But when it was discovered, oh, wait, yeah, this is what it is, it was like, no, nobody's going to tell me that. Nobody's going to tell me. Nobody tells me. Like,
Mhm,
I will figure it out myself, if anything. And
mhm,
I don't know what the answer is, but I'm not going to accept what somebody else tells me. I'm sick and tired of allowing other people to tell me what's true and what's possible.
mhm.
And that was really where things really shifted for me. Like that cancer journey was everything. It began my journey into my true foray into shamanism and hanging up my shingle publicly with the gifts that I came with my whole life, but was always afraid to even use for myself, let alone others. So all of that, but at the same time, I wanted to point out too the evergreen thing, the resilience thing. Um, where was I going with that?
Rebelling,
Was
having to really question beliefs, especially the ones that are being
mhm,
thrown at you.
yes,
Like,
yeah,
how
and it
much
became like
unsolicited
this.
advice did you get?
Oh, so much.
Mhm.
And nobody wanted to hear that my mom and I had discovered another possibility. That was like we were speaking the devil's language with that. And I had literally had family members tell me that I was going against God, and thus my being alive is now considered an abomination to them. And that's the kind of beliefs I was having to swim in the climate that I was in and my support system. Yeah, it was a mess. It was just unbelievable. You really, the fact that people are like tea bags, you find out who they are when you put them in hot water, it couldn't be more true.
That's
That
a
was
good
so
thing.
my mantra. It was like, wow, I can see who you are. I can see who you are. And again, we're going into beliefs, right? Like I can't label somebody, but it was who they were in
Well,
that moment.
that's a good distinction though, because now we talked about, okay, where can I exchange belief for another function? Experience,
Yeah.
observation, even without labeling. Without a label, I can tell if somebody is trying to be kind or not. My heart tells me. It's not a cognitive function.
Yeah. It's a feeling.
This is
Uh-huh.
where intuition and instinct can come into play because it works outside of belief, but it still gives you useful information.
Yes. Very
Yeah.
true.
So we're like an
Very true.
octopus. So they got 9 brains, right? And they've got
Yeah.
yeah. So we're
Yeah,
relying
that's
on
so
one.
true.
We have all these brains. Every cell has a brain.
Yeah.
Our soul, our emotional body. There's more
Mhm.
places to get information. Like belief is like the lowest hanging fruit with the least amount of payout.
True that.
So I'm honoring the fact that you saw this experience that somebody was either saying something that was meant to be healing or not. And so that's
And
fair for you to be like,
yeah,
okay, are you on my side? There's a good question. Do you want me to live?
I didn't even have to ask that question sometimes.
It was apparent.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was also like the everybody else's lack of open-mindedness of being willing to accept possibility or potential or a question just fueled my desire even more. And I've noticed too my drive to be alive thing and another story,
I
but
really want to
drive.
unpack that in another episode too. I
Me
need you
too.
to teach me.
I love it. It is the best download I ever got, I think. I truly do think that's the best download I ever got because it's so powerful in the worst possible moments of your life. And without going into the whole thing, DRIVE is an acronym for the factors that keep you going when the going gets tough.
What does it stand for?
And it stands for D is for Dharma, or in other words, to the layman, your destination or your dreams, what you're
Okay.
wanting to achieve in life, having a purpose, in other words. R is for realism. So not making a mountain out of a molehill and not totally dismissing something and thus devalidating the entire experience. We try to
Speaking to
diminish trauma.
cognitive distortion.
Yes,
There you go.
exactly.
Okay.
And that's actually what my point was with this was the R, because I liken it to when I use my analogy, because drive to be alive, right? So I use cars. I love vehicles. I love cars. I love all the metaphorical juiciness of that. And the biggest thing for me is the windshield, because that's your perspective and that's how you see where you're going, right? And so I always liken this part, the R, the reality. It's I used the term reality check in the acronym actually. Check. Always check your mirrors, check around you, look over your shoulder before you change lanes, but be looking through that windshield. And what I always say is anything that happens to you is like a bug or bird shit hitting your windshield, and it's going to make a mark, and it's going to cloud your vision if you allow it to accumulate without cleaning it off and regularly cleaning it off. So that's a big thing. And that's what I was getting at is I had so much bird shit flying at me during that time that it actually worked in my favor because I just threw all of it out. And I was like, I know there has to be an answer because first of all, I had my NDE, which at without going into the story, I was asked if I wanted to stay or go. I was given the choice to come back. And my instant answer was stay. I have kids. Like it wasn't even a question. And then that same voice had said, it's not going to be easy. This is going to be a challenge. And I'd already been through so much at that point. That actually did give me pause. I will admit that I probably paused for 2 seconds, if there is such a thing as time and where I was. But again, I was like, no, stay. And so knowing that I had been through that only 5 years prior, and I still hadn't published any best-selling works or done any like major things that I wanted to do still, I knew that I wasn't supposed to die. I knew there was supposed to be an answer. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea where I was going to find it, how I was going to get the means to do anything about it, but I just knew it would work out. And it was extraordinarily last minute. I would say in stage by the
Mm.
time I got the medicine in me and started the protocol that the doctor gave me. And it was 90 days as then I was in remission. And
Mm.
so that's the power right there of cleaning off the goddamn windshield, being able to see clearly ahead of you. It's hard enough. It's hard enough. There's other
And
cars on the road, there's animals crossing the road, your car might have issues. There's all sorts of things that can happen. And so it's so important to keep your eyes on the prize, keep your eyes on the road and keep it clear. And so anyway, yeah.
I
And
mean,
then the
and
rest of them
at the
just,
root of that, you had to question everyone else's beliefs.
yeah,
And
yes.
that's
And I
one of
did.
the points that I not only make in the book, but constantly in my coaching sessions with people is what are you granting sanction to?
Oh, what are you allowing to live rent free in your head?
Sanctuary, like the word sanctuary, to
Oh, yeah. I
open the
love that.
door, let it in, and protect it. The idea behind that, the energy under that is accountability.
Mm,
Because the victim, the old me, the victim me that was raised in the victim family would say, how else am I supposed to be? This is how I was raised.
yeah.
I was taught this, I was taught that, I wasn't given this opportunity. I was beaten down, I had terrible grades, I wasn't good with girls, we were poor, I had acne, I had braces, like blah blah, like forever, right?
Yes.
At
Yeah.
some level, I had to agree to these things. I had to agree that this was life. So
To
the
give it
accountability
sanctuary in your head,
I
like
grant,
the spirits coming back in when the guy kept it open.
like this is essentially how a spell takes hold.
Yeah.
Is it can't take hold unless I agree to it. So with the bird shit, with the people throwing their beliefs at you, you didn't consent. So the accountability, and that's really one of the things that I want to stress is there has to be some accountability in the beliefs I have. I either agreed to them or I did nothing about them or I said no. And that might be one of the easiest tools for people to know is if somebody says this group of people are all blank. And instead of getting into an argument with them, I say to myself, I disagree. That's it. No story. no argument, no justifying why I disagree. At that point, it's my doors aren't open.
Yeah.
Yeah, this person wants to enroll me in tribalism or racism or sexism or reducing some other group of people, marginalizing them. I disagree. That's it.
Beautiful.
I got other stuff to do.
Succinct.
Back to work, Capricorn.
Yeah.
Thanks for the talk. And so the beauty of the rebellion, the rebellious spirit that I also had was I was told, here's how the universe works. This is God. He's got a beard. Here's your rules you have to live by. If you don't, you'll go to hell. And at 10, I
Mhm.
said, I disagree.
Look at you, little Zoe. Like, that's so crazy.
This big.
That's so
It
crazy.
was like, here's a
Yeah.
actual scale model of me fighting my dad. No. What? Like
Yeah,
having
and
your
see, I
parents
think
tell
that
you you're gonna go to hell, that is not good for mental health.
no, it's definitely not. It's definitely not. And it can be very coercive. There's layers, multi-dimensional layers of beliefs upon beliefs too that lead to really buying into something like that to the degree where you're in it for I was for 37
Devout.
years.
Devout, right?
Devout. Okay, so there
Convicted.
was a phase. There was a previous trauma in my life. There's been plenty of those, but there was one when I was 17, right here where I'm actually located at the moment here in Eden, Utah, that threw me when somebody's living a certain way and some kind of massive trauma happens. A lot of times they shoot the other way, like as extreme as humanly possible. This was one of those times. I just went off the rails. I did every drug I could. I did every risky behavior. Like I just didn't care. And what I did care about is I wanted to die and I couldn't. I tried to take my own life multiple times and was not allowed to die for whatever reason, which now we understand. But like I was frustrated by it. So I was just like, fine, I'll just totally destroy everything and take the whole world down with me. Not other
Nihilistic.
people. I never want to harm others. But yeah, yeah, like that.
You could say that's a nihilistic.
And I was extraordinarily nihilistic. I will acquiesce to that.
Mhm.
So I spent, let's see, so I went off the rails. It was right before my 18th birthday. And then I came back to the fold when I was just barely 27. So I spent about 9 years outside of the faction. However, I never examined anything during that time. It was all just balls to the wall survival mode. Had my first child, had my first divorce, like all those kinds of things were going on. I wasn't looking at the process. I was reading self-help all day, but I wasn't looking at my beliefs. I wasn't looking at I had a therapist, everything. I never got this deep with something that you've condensed into what? How many pages is this book? Like 30 pages or something? 23
Yeah, it's
into a
tight.
23 page.
One of them's a promo, and then the cover.
Yeah,
So
you
I think it's
managed
like,
to do this.
yeah, I managed
Yeah,
to
the
get a cover
cover.
in there. There's a second one. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah, about 19 pages.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, exactly. And I was here with like bookcases full of self-help books and reading all the time and going to counseling and just studying it up. But at the same time, I didn't ever look at my beliefs in this way. I didn't question them. And unfortunately, it's all fortunate in the end, right? But at the time, it was quite unfortunate
Mhm.
because I ended up realizing, oh, I know why my life is in shambles. It's because I left the church.
Mm.
So I went back full bore, and that was when I became truly devout. And I spent the next 10 years completely devout. I did all the things. I was a card carrying, garment wearing, temple going,
Potato
celestial marriage.
making. And
Yeah,
we talked
that's
about this
right.
before. One of my motivations was, so when I was first published back in 2012, the publishing company said I had to have 70,000 words or more. And I was like, huh? Not that I couldn't. I
Yeah.
actually, that book, which I hope nobody reads, or at least let me re-release it before they do. I was high as a
Tell
kite
me
on
about
life. I was fully sober, but I was higher. It was the highest vibration I'd ever been in. So I was just like talking from the clouds. So what I
it.
found was
Yes.
like, I was like, okay, so you're encouraging me to just fill pages with BS or whatever, or just pull
Yeah.
stories, or so what's funny is I actually overwrote by quite a long shot. I think I ended up with 110,000 words. It was like 350 pages, and we actually had to cut
Oh,
it to half.
wow.
Yeah, we actually had to cut a fair amount where we're like, okay, these next 5 chapters are going to be this part of 2. But what I found is, okay, there's a lot of books I read. This is filler. I watch anime. There's so many filler episodes, right? They're just like, okay, we have a budget.
Uh-huh.
The marketing says blank. So the 2 things I found beautiful about ebooks is A, condense. What I could have explained in 300 pages, I did in 19. We all got stuff to do.
Yeah.
So A, I can condense, and I don't feel guilty for it, because you can always expound in social media and react videos and podcasts. And this just gives us something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many nuances, especially now. So it actually serves the end goal. And then so the second thing was, it's fluid. So it might be 19 pages now, it might be 23 next month, based on feedback,
Mm.
based on a new realization. And it makes a really good precursor to Soul Root Alchemy, which deals, yes, you need your mind obviously to navigate a book or a process, but it's all emotional. And so what I found was the emotions are very powerful. To me, in my experience, my emotions are more powerful than my thoughts, but my thoughts are more controllable.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. It's like, feel
That's
joy right now, right? It might take somebody a minute. But if I'm like, think of a red train,
yeah,
boom. That teaches
easy.
me that the mind is accessible right now and it's easily steered. Where emotions, I have to close my eyes and I have to think of a joyful memory, and then I have to assimilate my body, my chemicals, my aura
Yes. You
into
have to
that
put
memory.
yourself there. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the last time you laughed uncontrollably? Put yourself there, right? See,
Yeah.
it's accessible, but it's still a delay, or it could be work. Or let's say I asked that to my
Right.
daughter while she's in the middle of a tantrum, full blown meltdown. Hey, Dala, when was the last time you felt
Yeah.
ineffable joy? Just stop talking to me. I scraped my knee.
Yeah.
But I could say like,
Exactly.
hey, think of a red train. Boom. So that's what I love about the mental
Mm-hmm.
realm. The mental realm can be quite a maze, but if you learn to, I think I use this example in the book. If you look at the trees, you hit the trees in snowboarding. If you look at the path, you stay
Mm-hmm.
on the
You
path.
do.
So you
Yeah.
cut
Very
the path.
beginning.
That's what that is. This
Mm-hmm.
is the path. I could have talked about trees all day long. Should we do some
Yeah.
rapid fire questions for a little 5-minute promo? And then maybe they
Like
watch that
little
promo
blurb.
and then they
Yeah.
watch it. And then they watch this after. They watch the 2 hour version or whatever.
Yeah.
What should we do?
Yes.
Should we do the
Yes.
ones I sent you, or do you want to just, without preparation, don't even throw me softballs. You can throw me hard questions, softballs, personal questions.
Yeah.
Let's do 5 that feel relevant to the book or just curiosity, and we'll see if I come up with anything good.
Okay. I was just actually thinking about like your
Well, what are
experiences,
the questions you
story,
get?
obviously.
I mean,
The
I love
question,
like if I get questions from people, if I get the same question 5 times, it must be valid, because you got people from all walks of
ooh,
life, and they all end up in the same place somehow.
yeah. Well,
Divorce,
also I think that you're on the right track too,
co-parenting.
because that means you're,
How many beliefs did I have to get
yeah,
around to live in with my ex?
so amazing.
It's a daily audit.
I was just gonna say, I know you're still doing it. I know you got to do it every second for the rest of eternity. Like that's just, it is what it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's a constant reframe and analyzation that has to be there if you're doing your job right. And I think that was really where my first question that I had, of course, which I always have, when I started reading it was, how did he come to these conclusions? What are the stories? What are the moments that stick out in your mind as the glue or not the glue, the catalyst that caused you to even go down that road in the first place? To need that.
The first answer, I have it. We can save it. But I can tell you the moment that I had like my very first metacognition that I can remember. Metacognitive experience.
What was it? Oh, you're gonna tell
Oh,
me
I'll
when
just
we
tell you again. I'll just
record
tell
it.
you twice. I looked at how talented and beautiful and powerful my family was, and I wondered why they
Uh-huh.
weren't successful.
Ooh, good one. Oh my God. That's really big.
So maybe my Pisces, the intuition was like, or my projector, maybe both. My projector sees the system, sees the players, sees the board. My Pisces cares about them. My Libra just wants what's best for everybody. And the Capricorns, you're powerful, you're talented, you're creative. What is keeping you from being successful? Why are you not the way where you want to be?
Wow. This is
Not
where
judging, right?
knowing,
Not judging. The
uh-huh.
question, what is it? I'm 10. How could I
Yeah.
possibly equate what challenges they're up against? I don't know what rent is yet, but immediately I'm like, there's something in between them and their dreams, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah.
Belief.
Wow.
Mhm.
So powerful. That's really powerful. What was going on at the time?
We
I
were
know
sitting watching
overall.
TV. We were watching like National Geographic, and I just had this satorai, a moment of clarity. It was 10.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
then it led me to that next thought that I told you, which was really the true first step of my self-development journey. Was I saw their stats and I said, I love this about my sister, right? Genius, like certified 140 IQ, could recite Shakespeare, insanely talented poet, singer, dancer, also a defeatist. Okay. My other
mm,
sister, brave as the day is long, fire ready aim, landed on her feet all the time. Not a great planner, very courageous. My mother, unconditionally loving, not so kind to herself as she was to others.
aw.
My father, hardworking, 12-hour days, 6 days a week, convicted to his beliefs where he would take a bullet, whether he knew them to be true or not. Unfortunately, a bit of a almost fanatic or evangelist, very masculine in his teaching style, which I did not agree with to this day, which affected my teaching style. Passive, like mine's passive. Mine is here's some information, enjoy.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
I was like, how do I attain all of their qualities without any of their downsides? And that was like the first step of my journey when I was like 10. So those were the two things. And almost immediately I was in the realm of questioning belief. Starting with the
Mm,
church. Then I left the church. I decided to leave the church, but it took 2 years of dropping hints and warming up to it. And then when I was 12, it's just like I planted my feet and then I left. Catholic
mm.
school, Catholic friends, Catholic family, the whole thing. Yeah, like black sheep, here we come.
And I love that it happened while you were watching TV because you know how I have my little problem, my movie amnesia. That's probably why I have it because I'm too busy up here while I'm watching. I'm having downloads. It's
Mhm.
definitely, it gives you a space. I don't know how, but it does. Something triggers in your mind as you're watching, and then the next thing you know, you're in a totally different place. At
Mhm.
least for me.
Mhm.
So
Maybe
that's
it's
fun.
occupying the lower part of your brain, just like doing dishes, driving,
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
you know. Oh, so
Hmm.
question number two.
So question 2, if you could apply this framework, the questions that you have, the really powerful questions, that list of questions, what page is it on? Do you have it up? I think it's important to point that out right there. Yeah, those.
Ka-chow.
Yes, yes. Okay. If you could go back to one point in your life where you didn't have those already formulated and apply them, what time in your life would that be? And how do you think it would have changed things?
Let's see. Let me go through that one more day. Okay. If you could go back to one point in your life where you didn't have those formulated and apply them.
Yeah. If future Zoe were to go back in time to young Zoe and
Oh,
say,
and go
here,
teach him stuff
yeah,
and ask him
here's
these
some questions
questions.
to ask yourself. Yes.
Hmm. I wouldn't ask him questions about his father because he was in the wound, not in the scar phase yet.
Ah,
So he
okay.
wouldn't be able to give you an honest answer. It wasn't
Mm,
until he passed could I get clarity on my relationship with my dad and how like tumultuous but beautiful it was. So there's timing
okay.
is a factor, right? So there's going to be that's
Yeah.
to answer your question with a question, when is the best time to answer these questions? Sometimes not when you're in the category 5 of it. But if it's like,
Okay.
hey, I went through this thing, I healed from it. When I look back at it, do I laugh? Am I neutral or am I still triggered? That might be an indicator that you have to pop the hood on it. So
Boom.
I think just to stay like relevant and surface level, let's say money. I,
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you
that's a
the
good one.
moment. So I'll tell you the moment that I know that I took on scarcity mindset. And it was 12. And my dad sat me down and said, legally, I only have to feed you and give you shelter and clothes. Everything else is up to you. So Rebel Zoe said, fine, and got 2 jobs. Like, I didn't fight him. I was like, so what was the subconscious belief? Let's say, what was the belief that I granted sanction to in that moment that I'm on my own?
Yeah.
There's the scarcity belief.
That it's all up to you.
And I took it on, and it made me really good at being an entrepreneur. But as far as ever asking for help,
Oof.
ever relying, being able to trust somebody, ever
Mm-hmm.
being able to surrender, ever asking God or the universe to lend me a hand, not on the table. So baby out with the bathwater. Oh, my dad's not with me, well, then nobody else might. Like, it's a distorted belief. It's a distorted thought. I wouldn't say it was a traumatic incident, but it was like that's like a traumatized belief.
Yeah.
So as I unpacked the idea, just the subject of scarcity mindset, I observed that my mother she spent money like she was going to die tomorrow. My dad spent money like he was never going to die and he needed it all. So I took on the journey of deprogramming, of unlearning both of them. And then I'd ask myself, what is my belief about money? Which further led me to the next question: what is my agreement with the universe about money that is unique to Zoe?
Ooh, that's something I haven't ever looked at.
Throw every
At
system
least
out.
not. Wow.
What's my
Yeah.
what is my contract when it comes to money with the universe? Does it have to be hard, or is that a belief? Yeah. And the
Wow.
oddest thing happened when I learned that I'm a projector and that actually overdoing it, being hyper productive, was actually pushing it away. And that the most counterintuitive thing you could possibly imagine would be do less. What? Literally do less and you'll make more money? That
Yeah.
nobody will agree to that except human
Yeah.
design. No psychologist, no CEO, no marketeer, no banker, no accountant will say, yeah, you should do less.
Yes. You're absolutely right. That's exactly
Maybe
what I'm going
maybe
through
some
right now.
billionaires, but I don't have access to them. So I have to only assume that's what they're doing because they own 200 companies and they have time off. They
Yeah.
must be doing less. You're in the moment, so I want you to process this.
Okay.
This is a hot topic
Yeah.
right now.
It is a hot topic. It's resonating big time. Cause yeah,
And
my so
notice how it operates completely out of the realms of attraction and manifestation. It's
ooh,
legit. What is my belief about my arrangement with the universe?
so discover.
My 15-year-old, his friends are making 100 grand a year on TikTok. There are
Yeah.
more ways to make money than ever. We're in the richest country in the world. We have YouTubes that are free, blogs, libraries, coaches, consultants, friends, dumb luck,
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Wi-Fi. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's how would you parent her in that moment?
Yeah.
Would you ever say that to your child? Would you ever put your child in that situation?
No, never.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
no.
So
Yeah.
what we're
Past
doing is
present.
we're no longer granting sanction to that being true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, going back to the fact, just asking if there's one other option, the reason I say it like that is because I'm such a fan, and I know you are too. I don't know if you've ever used this terminology, but you talk a lot about baby steps. And I love the book Mini Habits.
Oh yeah, good
Um,
one.
right? Yeah, like the whole premise is it has to be stupid simple because otherwise the brain is going to balk at it. It's going to fight back. And it's just that's the way the brain's designed, right? Ego and all of the things. And we give ego such a bad name, but it's there to protect us. And so, in order to not lose our minds or to be like, I don't know anything, like what's true, what's not true, just to freak
Well,
out and have an
even
existential crisis.
outside of protecting us, it just the fact that it can compartmentalize things. That's its greatest
Uh-huh.
function in a neutral way. Family, phylum, species, my side of the fence, your side of the fence. Here's what
Yeah.
you're giving me in this contract. Here's what I'm giving you. The least demonized way to look at the ego for me.
Yeah, I like that. Yes, because it's
Distinction.
so true. And yeah, yeah, distinction. Good
Mm.
one. So, with that being said, to present an idea to a little girl who's, yeah, but this is my dad and he's saying this. And so that means it's the only truth. I don't have any,
Possible.
she couldn't even fathom that there could be another possibility. I was convinced I was going to either die that day or very shortly, and it wasn't going to be pleasant. And so I was just, I couldn't conceive of if you were to sit there and say, okay, so there's actually so many countless options. It'd be like, okay, go take your fairy dust and sell it somewhere else, right? I'm in it. This is real for me. But to say, is there one other possibility? Is there any? Could you think of just one other option?
Mhm.
Then opens my mind to the possibility that there is an option. And so if I find that option in my mind and I go, wow, okay, that's more palatable than the three my dad gave me. But if I could come up with one, maybe I could shift that around and make it this way, or what if it's that way? And then it starts, it's like the baby steps, the mini habits. It starts the brain along those lines. And so that's where I was going with that, is just to introduce the potential of possibility if
Mhm.
we can't fathom the possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I
So,
is I probably would have kicked my dad out of the truck and fought him seriously, like
yeah.
physically engaged, and then either got thrown out or locked him out.
Wow.
And physically, it's violent, but metaphorically, I'm not letting that happen.
Yeah.
So, as an empowered sovereign being, now I know there's an option. In that state, of course I didn't. And of course, you trust your parents, it's gospel, everything they say or do. They talk about that in the
Hmm.
Four Agreements. We trust them. That's why we believe everything they say, even though what they half the shit they say is ridiculous. So that's the sad part of being raised by people that aren't always mentally healthy because we're just along for the ride.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
When like,
I physically there was a time I stole my dad's car. I'm not proud of it, and we had a physical altercation, and I maybe did or did not drag him down a road doing 40 miles an hour in his car
wow.
because I didn't want to go to jail. I was running from the cops. I'd been on the run for a week, and he's, you can't take my car, and I'm like, yes, I can. Now it's not healthy, it's not functional, it's not loving, but there's a part of us, like in a positive way, the warrior part of us
Yeah.
that says, I love you, but my right now, like my sovereignty and my power is more important than your belief.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
speak to.
I like that. I really do. So there was another there's another facet to this that I think is important to add to the story, is just that in the Mormon church, you're taught from day one that the priesthood holder, which is only a male calling, like no women can hold the priesthood, is your direct connection to God. So yes, you pray, and yes, you can feel of the Holy Spirit, which you can only, by the way, embody the Holy Spirit, which is basically like the voice of God, if you're following a certain set of tenets. If you're not following them, then you could be getting voices from the wrong, quote unquote, the wrong source. But we were taught that the priesthood holder, as long as he's upholding his priesthood, which all he has to do is claim to be, right? The bishop does interviews with him every 6 months and asks questions, and his answers
I'm
denote,
familiar.
yeah, that
Jen's
denotes his
parents
righteousness.
are like bishop level super Mormon. So
Oh,
I've been through it all.
wow.
Yeah. Zen
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah. And so he was extremely big on that, right? Like from the time I was 3 or 4 years old that I can remember. And my mom said it went way back behind that when I was much younger and don't have a lot of memory of it. I was hearing voices all the time in my crib at night or on my bed. And so my dad would come give me a blessing every night. There's the laying on of hands, right? Like he was trying to rid me of these demons. And so he was also my source of being right in the world, like not being subject to all of these unseen forces that I was so terrified of. And so to have the person who was in charge of that also be taking away every freedom I had was it was too much of a mind fuck. Like the swirl, just the eddy was unending. If I rebel against it, that means I'm rebelling against my own salvation. But I'm gonna rebel against it because fuck that. I'm not gonna let that be the truth here. At the end of the day, that did result in like that complex trauma, like you're talking about. The moment was traumatic, but it's the same kind of idea
Yeah,
as what
because you're
you
just
went
coping.
through.
When
Where,
trauma's happening, you're just coping. Shock and
yeah,
awe.
yeah,
Yep. Trying to keep your feet under you. Later is when the trauma actually sets in.
exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's where that all came from. And it caused like that catch 22 where I was constantly bouncing back and forth between wanting sovereignty and being afraid of sovereignty. Because me sovereign means I don't have a priesthood leader telling me right from wrong, dictating my every move. Suddenly I'm in charge. And am I capable? I don't know because I was told I'm not. So that's scary. What if my options aren't even as good as the ones he just gave me? What if the cliffhanger is the best option here? And I do remember in that moment, I do remember asking myself, should I just tell him to go ahead and drive me up to the restaurant? Because these other options sound absolutely atrocious. Yeah, interesting. Which I guess all boils down to the same thing once again, which is timing. At that time, I probably would have still been in a complete mindfuck and unable to like surface for air. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I could try to go back and coach myself, but I don't know if it would even be heard correctly.
Yeah. Assuming you're talking to your ethereal self, right? Like science, they've actually started realizing that we actually can change the past. Quantum physics.
Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
fascinating?
It's pretty cool because
Yeah,
all I'm doing is reframing. So it's okay, cool. Like that no longer has an emotional charge for me, and therefore I'm no longer bound by it. It's just an experience, it's just data. But then I find out maybe I am. Like, what if the stories I hold on to aren't serving me? What if I could take the lessons and leave the memories out of it? Because there's so many things I've just offloaded by being like, that
yeah,
memory doesn't serve me at all. And it sucks because I have a memory like an elephant. And I've had to
yeah, me
talk to
too.
them 3 in the morning when none of my facilities are up and firing. And I'm just like looking at all my mistakes. I'm like, I'll talk to my brain. I'll be like, we don't problem solve at this time of night. And I'll ask it. I'll ask it. I'll just be like, is this serving us right now? Are you bringing me anything I can that's useful? Go quiet. Sorry. It drifts into the, yeah. Is any of this useful?
Yeah.
So, yes, I definitely get There is an emotional impact, there's a physical impact, there's a spiritual impact, and all of it can be healed. But not if I hold
Yeah.
on to it as truth.
And the only reason that I personally, I don't want to do that with my stories just yet is because I believe they're powerful, really powerful. So I do feel like those stories are, at this point, they are simply vehicles for delivering truth and nothing more. They don't feel anymore like I'm processing when I talk about them. I'm actually in a state of curiosity, if anything. Wow, powerful.
Yeah, and it's possible that the way I process is not for anyone else. Like that's
Mhm.
just what would I do, and that's like literally what I did. Was I had to go back to my inner child, basically. But it might be different for others. Like for others, it maybe just heals over time. But for me, I had to be like, look at this guy's life. He's not rich. He's not happy. Don't take his advice.
Yeah.
I was like, how many people do you know are doing really well and they have all the time and money in the world and they're not stressed and they're helping others,
Mhm.
they're feeding all these families? I'm like, go search that out.
Yeah.
Did I gain so many skills and qualities? Literally the only reason why I have as many skills and my resume looks the way it does is because that I did get that talk. I did grant sanction to it. So it is perfect in its own way. Is that this mindset I wanted to follow till I turned 80?
Not at all. Yeah.
Not once. I had a daughter and I worked through all of Zen's life, missed his childhood, period.
Oh, no.
Grew up in a warehouse. He grew up in dad's truck. We didn't play catch until he was 16.
Oh,
That was my second chance. I'm not going to
well,
fuck it up again. And it had to come down to the belief.
yeah.
What is my agreement with the universe around money? And the benefit is I get time with her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also
The
love
stakes
that
had to
it's
be
like,
high enough. That's what it came down to. Was I was always
mhm,
capable, but it's like the universe didn't really rub my nose in my shit until it was like, okay, like she needs her dad. Her mom, of course, they're always gonna be close, but I will fill a space in her mind and her heart that literally no one else in the universe can. And how am I gonna show up for that? Am I gonna be the best version of me? The
mhm.
most evolved, the most loving, the most compassionate, the most present available? Or am I going to continue to be 20, 30-year-old Zoe who's just work first, everybody else second? I
Mhm.
still contend with it now, but I'm more on top of it. Still haven't completely figured it out.
But you do have a really good groundwork to work from
I have plenty
with
of
all
data,
your questions. Yeah.
a lot of data. Uh
There's
huh.
this one ebook that I'll send you. Super helpful. I'm talking
I
about yours.
I've heard of it. It's
Yeah.
ringing a bell. Something about beliefs. One of the I don't know if I left this in this book. I got to read it again. The word in the middle of belief is lie.
Oh, yes, you did.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a
It's
good thing
interesting.
to focus on.
It just
Helpful.
goes hand in hand with assumption.
Yeah.
We're just filling the space with thought because we're terrified of the mystery.
But you know what assuming does? It makes an ass out of you and me.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's question 2.
Do you feel like there's a particular order to how you should pose these questions to yourself in the moment? Just maybe it's just your opinion. Maybe it's just your own personal way of processing.
Mhm.
Is there one question maybe that you feel like is the most powerful to ask to begin with and then followed by the others?
Yes. In fact, as I was writing, like I finished writing and I wanted to eat my own medicine, even though this had been my practice for years, either consciously or subconsciously. I was like, okay, what would it be like if I was a reader and I'm going through this? The question I wake up to before I go into any of these is, what are my limiting beliefs?
Wow. That one's not even on the list. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay.
Because what they
I
are
like that.
now are very different than they were 5 years ago, because I've become a different person. I've broken through, I've developed, I've evolved, I've changed, shed skin, died, come back to life. My limiting belief around money 20 years ago is different than it is now. My limiting belief around how to treat your exes is different. My limiting
Yeah.
belief about society, a lot of beliefs about society changed in 2020 when we all went to war with each other. I went from believing that most people were good to believing that maybe only 50%. And now I'm back to like, when you sit down and talk to somebody face to face, 99.9% of people are cool.
Yeah, very true.
Social media will distort that because they benefit from it. So believing that social media is a accurate depiction of the world might be one of the most harmful beliefs you can have.
So true. And that's that we're actually reconfirming that belief every time we ingest it if we're not actively keeping that thought in mind.
And drawing a circle around it and saying, before I even log into this, just remember this is entertainment. This isn't life. So, yeah, what are my limiting beliefs? And I'll usually butt up against my brain runs the list of all the things I have to do. And if it hits 50, the belief is I'm going to have a hard day. Used to be. New belief is maybe 10's fine. Does it all have to be done today? Do I have to do it all? How much of this can I outsource? How many naps can I take? Do I have enough time? But yeah, I'd say these questions here are literally just to get the conversation started. They may not even be relevant at the time, or some of them might cut too deep and it's not time to look at this yet.
Okay.
What are my limiting beliefs right out of the gate? What do I think I'm capable of?
Very cool. And then you have the list in the book of a basic understanding of what denotes limiting belief. And so then you can charge through that all willy-nilly if you want to, right? It doesn't have to be in any particular order.
Yeah, throw a dart. Do I believe life is just about survival? Do I believe it's about thriving? Do I believe it's about fun?
Yeah.
And then throw out beliefs again and go back to, what am I observing? What am I seeing? Without filtration, judgment, labels. What do I see? That's when I see opportunity. That's usually when inspiration opens up, because I've essentially cleared the mind of clutter.
Wow. Yeah. It's the perfect formula, honestly. You can't go wrong with it because it doesn't set a formula that's confining is not a good formula. A formula that's freeing and expansive and ever expansive is the ticket. It can change
Evolving.
with you.
Yes,
Yeah,
evolving with us. That's exactly it. You got it.
beautiful.
There you go. So
There's your third.
there's my third. Comes out on January 2nd on my birthday. And I'm going to do it super chill. I'm not going to have a parade. I'm not going to buy any fireworks. I'm going to make a video and then make another one where I basically just unpack every one of these pages, where I just basically walk people through each one. And if I have to add something, I will. But I want this to be one. And then next month I have another one, and it sits up there on my school account. Next month's another one. They're all just sitting on my shelf. I got 6 books just not serving the world. Being very 3D and root focused this year has been good for me, because that's been a stretch. I've had to overcome limiting beliefs about consistency and stability, getting into out of my comfort zone. And the soul never stays quiet long. And it says, okay, you got your feet under you. Who are you serving besides yourself?
Oof, that's always a good one.
Shaman will answer the call. The average man, that's what they call it in Toltec shamanism. They don't care and they sleep fine. And that's your dharma. But
Yeah,
shamans
that's
know it
their
is
journey.
called, right? And we can't quiet it, not for long.
No,
And it's
I don't.
only a
I
matter of
don't
time
know the
before they
day.
grab us and drag us back to the path. I'd rather go like of my own volition instead of kicking and screaming.
Same.
gracefully.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm so happy about this last year. 2025 was a huge glow up for me. Every part of my life got better, expanded, grew, evolved, and I want to take that momentum forward. I don't want to just take it as status quo and rest on my laurels. I want to use everything I've learned, not only software wise, system wise, but things I've learned about myself, move it forward, still knowing that 2026 is in mystery.
Yeah, I do. And I'm listening and thinking my 2025 was a massive atom bomb going off. And it's the same outcome. I have the same idea about it. Like, I don't want to let that go to waste. It brought so much transformation, so much, and so much awareness that if I were to, which I wouldn't even, I don't believe that the universe would allow that, but if I were to try to let it all go and just
Squander
stay
it.
status quo,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be a crying shame. Because it is, the glow up is in the transformation. Yeah. Rising up on top of that avalanche, surfing
Swim.
the avalanche.
Gotta swim. That's the ticket. Swim. Yeah.
I can't believe
And then
that.
laugh. And then laugh when you survive.
Yeah. Yeah. And lest we forget the most important step of all,
Joy.
laugh.
Yeah. That's a great limiting. What are my beliefs around joy? Did I have to leave it in my childhood or do I get to have it still?
Yeah. Yeah. When people lose children, I do a lot of work with people that are losing their children or have lost a child. And I tell them the number one thing I always tell them is you need to find a way to create joy so that you can be on the right frequency for your beautiful little child who's always on that frequency to be in the same space energetically with you, that you can like actually feel them and they can feel you and they can see you happy. They want to see you happy. If they come to visit you, they don't want to find everybody all somber and depressed. Like, they need you still. Just because they don't have a body doesn't mean they don't need you. Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
It is. It is because people, it does change their belief immediately about joy. Oh, because especially parents, also spouses or lovers, if they lose a spouse or a lover, they're like, they feel guilty for being joyful.
Yeah.
It comes with, I shouldn't feel this way now. There is no joy in the world without this person here. And that's just not true. It has to be found because that's the only way to keep them in a way around you, in a way that you can sense and that they can enjoy.
And if they love you, they didn't want you to be sad the rest of your life. So thank you, Shaman Eden. Thank you for being here with me, being my double, assisting me with moving through this. And I'm excited to release this and have more talks with you. And go to Eden's school. She has amazing material. She has great content. She's always sincere, comes from her heart, very knowledgeable, a lot of life experience. So big recommend there. And we'll see you guys on social media and school.